Let us now discuss the novel, The Dark Holds No Terrors. So, in the short duration of time, I would like to cover each and every aspect which is related to the novel. When you start reading the novel, then you find out the epigraph of the novel. And the epigraph reads like, "You are your own refuse. You are your own refuse. There is no other refuse, and this refuse is hard to achieve." Now, epigraph tells the basic points which are related to the novel. Like if you read the epigraph once again, that this you are your own refuse, there is no other refuse, and this refuse is hard to achieve. We'll find out that this epigraph is talking about the theme of self-reliance. It also talks about inner strength and resilience. It also talks about exploration of identity. Uh, it also talks about contrasting external influences. It also gives the message of inner peace, and also, as is shown in the last line, difficulty of achieving this refuse. So, I think if you read this epigraph, so you'll be able to understand the novel very well. It's a novel by Shashi Deshpande, which was published in 1980, has been translated into German and Russian. It's a powerful and evocative novel that deals with the psychological and emotional struggles of women in contemporary Indian society. Uh, it tells the story of a character called Sarita, also known as Saru, uh, a successful doctor who grapples with the trauma of her past and the complexities of her marriage. As the title suggests, The Dark Hold No Terrors, the novel explores the metaphorical darkness in her life, and it is addressing the issues like gender inequality, domestic violence, and the quest for identity. Now, at the very core of the novel, you'll find out that the novel challenges the traditional notions of femininity and marriage, depicting how women, despite their professional success, they remain trapped in oppressive relationships. Uh, through Sarita's journey, Deshpande offers uh, uh, a piercing commentary on patriarchal expectations, the dual, pressures of being a wife and a professional, uh, as far as the character of Sarita is concerned. Now, in writing this novel, Deshpande sought to give voice to the silent struggles many women face, those who caught between their roles as caregivers and their personal desires for autonomy and self realization. Now, if you talk about the structure of the novel, then what is basically the structure of the novel? Then this novel does not have the proper, structure like division in books and all that. But for the convenience of the viewers, I have thought that why not divide this novel on three primary narrative layers in order to understand it very well. So let us see that there are three narrative layers, though I mean the book has not been divided into parts. But in order to understand the story, let us see that there are three layers in the novel. One is Sarita's present. What is this Sarita's present? Uh, the novel opens with Sarita, a successful doctor, returning to her childhood home after many years of absence. Uh, Her return is prompted by a crisis in her life as her relationship with her husband Manohar has deteriorated. The present narrative deals with her conversation with the ailing father and her reflection on the state of her marriage. Now, as Sarita confronts her past, we also witness her trying to move, navigate the emotional distance she feels from her husband and come to terms with her dual identity. And this dual identity is a successful professional and a woman trapped in troubled marriage. Now, so Sarita's present. Second narrative can be flashbacks to childhood. Now, through flashback, actually, we come to know the story. So this is the second layer that interpersed with present are flashbacks to Sarita's childhood. Now, in this section, we find that uh, the novelist tries to show the complex relationship of Sarita with her mother who was giving more favor to her son in comparison to Sarita. And third is Sarita's marriage and psychological trauma. When you read the novel, you find out that uh, the novel has a major part, and that is Sarita's, marriage with Manohar and how Sarita is recollecting her marriage to Manohar, and a kind of sexual and emotional violence which is there in her family. Now, this Sarita's marriage is explored through her internal monologues and discussions with her father. Now, if you see some thematic structures, that what are because the novel basically follows a non-linear structure, uh, because where Sarita's experiences in the present are constantly interrupted by memories from the past. Now, in this novel, we find out gender roles and patriarchy, the search for identity, and the guilt and self blame. What basically this guilt and self blame is? It is stemming from her brother's death and the failure of her, marriage. Because again and again she was blamed that she is responsible for the death of her brother Dhruva, and she is also, self blaming herself for marriage with Manohar. Now, there are some major literary devices which Shashi Deshpande has used in order to develop the story, and one is flashback. Then we have internal monologues. We have non-linear narratives. We have symbolism also. Like, for example, the home is also a symbol here in this novel. Home, symbol, a place of refuge, and darkness, which is a symbol of fear. And then we have irony also, as irony is that Deshpande uses basically irony to critique the societal norms that oppress women. And the irony is basically that Sarita, despite being a successful and independent woman, finds herself victimized within the private sphere of her marriage. Then we have juxtaposition also as a literary device, that how two contrasting ideas are put together. Now, when you see the major characters in the novel, then you find out the protagonist, obviously, as I told you earlier, is Sarita, who is known as Saru also. We have Manohar, Manu, who is Sarita's husband. He is a college professor, and he after the marriage he feels insecure and resentful also. We have Sarita's mother who has antagonistic influence. We have Sarita's father, who is a silent figure, and we have Dhruva, Sarita's younger brother, who dies in a drowning accident, and the blame is on Sarita. And then we have Baba, Sarita's childhood neighbor. Sarita shares, important things with him. Now, when you read the novel, you'll find out that Sarita, who is the central figure in the novel, she returns to her father's home after the gap of 15 years. Having heard of her mother's death, she decides to reconnect with her father, though she's not sure, the way she's going to be received by her father. Her father is still loyal to the memory of his wife, welcomes her in a cold, indifferent manner, Nothing in the house seems to have changed. The same stone slabs lead to the front door, and the tulsi plant, symbolically connected to the Hindu traditions. All these things are there in the family. Uh, you know, uh, when you read the novel, you'll find out that Sarita's emotional journey basically begins with a difficult relationship with her mother, uh, who was giving more, favor to her son Dhruva, and she uh, blamed her for the accidental death of the younger brother Dhruva. Now, this guilt actually haunts Sarita throughout her life, leaving her emotionally, scarred. Uh, I mean, this is about the childhood. As an adult, she marries Manu, a professor who initially provides her love and stability. Uh, but when Sarita's medical career was flourishing, Manu was feeling increasingly insecure and emasculated. Uh, because this shift in power dynamics leads to domestic abuse, particularly sexual violence. Leading Saru emotionally devastated. Now, if you see, there are certain quotations in the novel through which you can understand it very well. Sarita's mother, I mean, the harsh words of Sarita's mother are, "Why are you still alive? Why didn't you die?" This was a statement which was said by her when Dhruva died, actually. And that was a coincidence, but the blame was on Sarita. So, this was a statement. And as far as Sarita's marriage and caste issues are there, when Manohar, with whom she was in love, Manohar was with her, and he was introduced by Sarita to the family members. Then the mother asked, "What caste is he?" "I don't know." "A Brahmin?" "Of course not." "Then cruelly his father keeps a cycle shop." "Oh, so they are low caste people, are they?" So this is basically, I mean, when Manohar interacted with the family. And as far as Sarita gender roles and in marriage concerned, Sarita, because she was not very happy with Manohar, because power dynamic shifted actually. Yeah. So this was a statement by Sarita, the very prominent lines in the novel that A plus B, they told us in mathematics, is equal to B plus A, but here A plus B was definitely not equal to B plus A. It it becomes a monstrously unbalanced equation. This was actually the statement of Sarita. Then there is a very famous line as far as traditional expectations of marriage are concerned. Sarita says, this is again a very significant line, that a wife should always be a few feet behind her husband. If he is an MA, you should be a BA. If he is 5'4" tall, you should not be more than 5'3". If he is earning 500 rupees, you should never earn more than 499 rupees. That's the only rule to follow if you want a happy marriage. This was the statement of Sarita. Now, in this novel, Shashi Deshpande, uh, you know, interpreted it, or you can interpret it on various thematic, psychological, cultural, gender-based levels. This novel can be interpreted on psychological, emotional level. This novel can also be interpreted on gender and power dynamics. This can also be given the feminist interpretation, the social and cultural commentary, uh, identity and autonomy, mother-daughter relationship, masculinity and insecurity, healing and recognition, marriage and domestic life. So these are the points actually where the novel can be interpreted. Now, in this novel, while writing your answers, you can also use some strong words in order to make your answers more powerful. Like you can use the word resilience, how Sarita represents her ability to withstand and overcome the traumatic past and abusive marriage. So resilience, subjugation is another word which you can use. It captures the oppressive nature of Saru's relationship with Manu. Duality you can use, which refers to Saru's conflicting identities as a professional woman and a traditional wife. This empowerment you can use, this illustrate Manu's feelings of emasculation and insecurity as Saru becomes more, successful. You can use interiority also, that highlights the novel's exploration of Saru's inner thoughts and emotions. Catharsis can also be used because it represents the emotional release. Marginalization, that can also be used. It refers to how Saru feels pushed to the edges of her family and society, both due to her successes and traumatic history. Transgression you can also use because it signifies how Sarita defies the traditional norms. Gender inequality, alienation, introspection, victimhood versus empowerment, cultural critique. Now these are the words actually which you can use for this, for I mean, while writing your answers, while interpreting this novel. So through this novel, Shashi Deshpande is trying to um, depict the picture of a woman actually who was suppressed in the male-dominated society, but ultimately she does not remain as a passive character. She becomes a new woman who is defying the traditional role of a woman and emerging as an assertive character, as in the case of Sarita.